Hi, I've got a really important message for you today. Okay, your ex is caught in a cycle now of fear, absolute fear. Their life is starting to unravel. Okay, also they tried to bring you down when this relationship ended. They weren't satisfied with making your life a misery at some point in your relationship. They also tried to bring it down. I feel that they completely told a pack of lies about you. Okay? To their family, to their friends, to authorities, maybe the court system, but they told a complete pack of lies. Well, guess what? These two cards came out. Okay, so they have got concerns, worry and risks. They've made the wrong decision and they're going in the wrong direction. But also they could have been doing some dark deals. Now that could mean a variety of things. Okay, but it's not going... The situation they're in at the moment is crumbling. And I feel this is karma. You know, don't throw stones in glass houses. It's not just the fact that your relationship ended. Okay, relationships end. I always say this, but it's the fact that they tried to besmirch, to dirty your name, to make out that you were the one that did everything wrong, that it was all your fault. But more than that, they even tried to take you lower. They wanted to destroy you. Okay, this is not a particularly nice person that I'm reading on today. So let's get into it. I'm going to have a look at what's going on. Okay, what's going on. But I also feel very strongly that you will get to hear about this within the next 4 to 5 weeks. I'm hearing by the middle of September you are going to get some information, which, and it's okay to feel good about that information you're going to hear, because you walked away. You had to walk away in the end. But you're going to hear some information about how their whole life is spiralling, but specifically some deals they've been doing have gone wrong. So let's give these a shuffle. Just while I'm shuffling though, thanks so much for listening to this message, and also all your support, your comments, your likes, all of it. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to see more content, please just hit the notification bell. That helps the channel grow. Thanks so much. And if you'd like a reading, just click on the title of the video. Okay, the links are in the description box and all the readings are on the website. Okay, you've been through a lot. Let's see what's going on. Dodging bullets. Oh dear. I knew it was dark energy. Okay, soulless energy. You know when you just sometimes meet people, and you know what I mean, when you just look at them and you kind of know they're there in the real, but it's as if they're just, I think there's a name for it. I can't think what the name is now, but they're just like an empty shell. Okay? That is the colours that your person revealed to you. They became an empty... I think they were always an empty shell, to be honest, okay? But they are trying to dodge bullets, okay? There's a lot of crazy people around them. There's a lot of crazy people surrounding your ex at the moment. A lot of people who don't like your ex. And I feel that's where the karma's coming, and it could be to do with some deals they've done or just some decisions, but there's people surrounding your ex who don't like them. Okay, now this is also a message for you, and this is, I feel, if I said nothing else today, because I know you've been feeling down and low and frustrated with life. And I'm not an astrologist, but we are still in Mercury retrograde, and for me personally this year it's been a tough one. I don't always even notice, to be honest with you, Mercury retrogrades, I don't tend to sort of think, well, it's Mercury retrograde, it's all going to go wrong. But this time, it has been a real doozy, okay? And I feel you've been either presented with something from the past, or things you thought you'd kind of buried have been surfacing. The message is you have dodged a bullet as well, okay? You've dodged a bullet with this person. If you think they were in a mess or whatever they were before you separated, then they're worse than that now, okay? That is your key message today. That is your key message, because I feel that you've been really feeling that energy, okay? But you have got some information coming through, which I feel in 4 to 5 weeks, that's going to close this cycle out for you, okay? Yeah, they kept you hooked. You know, they dangled a carrot. It was they were classical future faking. It never happened, you know? Love bombing, get you in, promise you this, say they're going to do that, befriend your family, maybe your children, and all of the things that they do. Okay, and then, bit by bit, you either end up with no self-esteem or controlled by this person. But also, they are now hanging on by a thread, I just heard. They're hanging on by a thread. Just a couple more out of this deck, and then I'm going to get my tarot deck out. Oh my gosh, you have dodged a bullet. You really have. Did someone steal your ideas? Someone really tried to bring you down at the end here. Someone just tried to bring you down. They just told everybody lies. Okay, I think they tried to make out you were the crazy one, that you were the problem, okay? Someone copied your work, steals your ideas, feeds off you. Feeds off you, yeah. Because they are soulless. And yeah, we can, you know, let me put it another way. We can say it will have been from their childhood. You know, something happened with your ex where their emotional development didn't really work out too well, okay? But that isn't your problem, okay? That's what I'm hearing. That is not your problem, because they absolutely, they fed off you. Like a vampire, like an energy vampire. And everything that you were and they weren't, they also criticised. So if you were very sort of happy-go-lucky or just very generous with your time and your love, okay, they criticised you for that. And you started to question your own behaviour or even dim your light. You dimmed your light because they started to criticise the very thing that they wanted. That's the key here. You know, there are some people, and you know, I wish I'd understood this, a few years ago, but now I'm a heck of a lot older. There are some people, it doesn't matter what you do or what you say, they're always going to do this to you. You know, and for me personally, now, you know, it's just a question of taking that on and thinking, okay, and then just walking away. Because I can guarantee you that wherever your ex goes, they will be exactly the same. They might start off with another love bombing. They might do 3 years in a relationship before it all goes down the pan, okay? But they will revert back to that behaviour. Because your ex in question doesn't really have any self-reflection, okay? They don't have any self-reflection. What's this? Yeah, they just fly off. They just block people. They use people. They use people, okay? And they'll say anything and do anything, and they're just, I'm going to read what it says, they just make shit up. They just make shit up. Because they have no intention of ever taking responsibility. And they left you drained, you know. This energy, don't ever sit and think that you could have done any more, okay? Or that it was anything that you did particularly. No, it wasn't. That's your message today. That's your message. All right, so let's see what's going on now with their life, okay? Because I feel that they are spiraling. Why are they spiraling? What's going on in their environment, please? What are you going to hear about in the next 4 to 5 weeks? Okay, there's something to do with definitely justice. There's something to do with law as well. There could be a court case, specifically a court case, all right? But they are going to be pulled into or called into account, I feel, by an air sign. The air sign that's going to, I'm not saying destroy them, but it's actually going to cause them issues, is somebody who has more authority than them, specifically has more authority. And your ex isn't going to be able to pull the wool over their eyes. All right? It is specific, but they won't be able to pull the wool over their eyes. But it's definitely an air sign, possibly a male energy as well, because this person is as selfish and as ruthless as your ex. Okay? Your ex has a way of, how can I say this? They're malicious. They're malicious, okay? But this air sign, this male figure is going to overrule them on something and is going to bring them down on something, okay? Let's see what we can find out about what that is, please. Yeah, they're going to lose a battle. They're going to lose a battle. Your person's involved in either an argument or a battle with this other person, okay? They've been fighting this for a while, but they are not prepared. They're not prepared. They've met their match, okay? And they are going to lose. They're going to lose. Now, from that very first card that came out, you know, fear, they know that they are going to lose, all right? And they're going to give up. They're going to be defeated. And that is what you're going to hear about. The people that were surrounding them that they thought were going to support them are going to run to the hills because they don't want to be involved in it, okay? Yeah, your person's stuck in the energy of the Hanged Man as well. So things are not really moving, but it's also the Hanged Man, you know, not in a very good position. So they're very discontented. There's a lot of apathy around them. Just very, very stuck energy, okay? The Pack of Cards is coming down for them. The Pack of Cards is coming down. And do you know what they did? Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck, they faked in another situation, okay? So it's 10 of Cups, but in the reverse, or in a negative position. So they faked it. They went somewhere else and they pretended that, you know, it was going to be the white picket fence and the dream house and whatever else they've been lying to somebody about. And they've been caught out. Can you give me anything else specifically, guides? Anything else on this person's energy? King of Cups in reverse. Oh dear. Yeah. You know, I'm going to say it because we've got that bad deals, dark deals, okay, and somebody, I don't know, stealing somebody else's ideas or something. Now, the King of Cups in the reverse, specifically on some occasions, can represent somebody who lies at work, or somebody who's very scheming, some sort of fraud, okay, and that's come out, I feel, to give me that message to give you. So there is, with that other energy, the air sign, there is some legal thing here that's going to bite them in the backside. All right, now it could just be a question of them, they didn't have the right documents, or they hadn't got the right forms, I'm hearing. But it's having a knock-on effect on their life. They can't go forward and they're feeling very, very stuck. But the energy of your person as a King of Cups reversed is exactly what we've been talking about for the last 10-15 minutes. That they are emotionally manipulative, that they are a schemer, that they love bomb, that they're a fantasist, an illusionist, that they will tell you, they'll wheedle their way into your life. And you really do think, you know, King of Cups reversed to me, and everyone reads differently, but for me it always feels of that person who comes into your life and you really think you've met the one. And that is the hardest thing that you've been through. And I do feel during this Mercury retrograde, you've done so much healing, but it's come back up again, because King of Cups comes in and you think, wow, this is brilliant. You know, it is the one. Beautiful energy, very loving, kind, empathetic, helpful. And then gradually their behaviour starts to change. And it's so subtle. It's so subtle. And before you know where you are, you've got yourselves involved in a trauma bond. A trauma bond, which then becomes addictive, because a trauma bond, you know, in a love relationship's like, I don't know, smoking. It changes the synapses, you know, in your brain. So you crave the ups and downs, like you crave the nicotine. So don't ever think, gosh, you know, why was I like this, or why did I stay as long? Why do we start smoking? You know, these become addictions. And then this person just literally changes. But then they've got you. Okay? They've got you. So the message for you today is they are going, justice will be served. Now, I'm not saying we should go through life, you know, hoping that everyone has a downfall. But even if you sitting there wishing them well, okay, and you've completely not really, you know, you've done your own healing and stuff, what I've seen throughout my life, whether we wish it on them or not, okay, at some point, what they've put out there will get reflected back to them, because it's a mirror, okay? So they try to bring you down, they try to maybe ruin you, badmouth you, make you fight for what was actually already yours, empty your bank account, whatever they've done, okay? And with their flying monkeys I just heard, it's now flipping, because they have been fighting a battle that they were not prepared for. They thought that their usual lies and crap and all of this would justify. I'm hearing their little boy, little girl, doesn't matter about gender, whether male, female, or however the energy is identified. It's that almost victim mentality. Now that worked with them, but the people they've surrounded themselves with now, it's starting to wear thin, and then there is that other energy of that person who's coming in or who's already in, who could be a lawyer. You know, it's the King of Swords. That can be a lawyer. That can represent the legal system. It usually represents someone who's intelligent. They have authority. They're not interested in emotions. Your person can run the your ex can run the biggest pity party, and I know they'll do that because they're the King of Cups reversed. Okay, so they will be, and the Hangman, you know, the victim. I've sacrificed this, I've done that. But you know, with this other person's energy, it ain't happening. They're going to get hammered for it. Okay? And you will hear something about this. Like I say, 11th, 12th of September. Alright, so let me just get a card for you. Just remember, you are amazing. There's nothing you could have done, okay? Deep knowing, okay, your intuition is right. Your intuition is right. You know deep down there is nothing else you could have done. But when these relationships change the brainwaves, then you've got, it's in the subconscious, and that little voice just runs, okay? But you know deep down, okay? Your intuition was right all along about this person. It was just chaos and conflict. Okay? You know, just even looking at this card, one minute they were one thing and the next minute they were the next. And they never apologised. They never ever apologised. And your energy became so reduced and so low, you haven't even got the energy to argue with them, okay? But what, last card, community. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you, okay? Sometimes when you've been through something like this, you can be with some people, but they're still not right for you. That's what I'm hearing. You are going to find your own community, your own tribe. All right, your ex is riding for a fall. They've met somebody who's got far more power than they have. Okay, it could just be, like I said, the legal system as a whole. I'm hearing some forms, some paperwork. Either they haven't sent it, it wasn't registered, or it will be rejected. But you're going to hear about this, so you just keep doing you, and always remember, you are perfect just the way you are, okay? You know, just say to yourself, I am who I am, and I am enough. And if this, you know, resonates, just keep saying that. And 30 days of repeating something, or I'm amazing, I'm the best, I'm good enough, it will start slowly to rewire those thoughts that somebody else put into your subconscious mind. Okay, you are none of those things that this ex of yours said you were. None of it. Okay, and that is my message for you today. So you look after yourself, make sure that you put yourself first, start saying no, and really, really live for you now. Live for you. And if people don't like it, well, that's fine, because you deserve the best, okay? This is your life, your movie, and you're writing the script, okay? You go get them, all right? I love you all. I'll speak to you soon.